Here's another question. At this time, what we are going to do is accept three numbers. What you have to write is to accept three numbers and display the largest out of the three. The three numbers can be entered in any order. You can enter the largest number first, or the or last, or in the middle, or in whatever way. But the NS chart should pick out the largest and display that only. That is the exercise we are trying to do. Okay. So as usual, take your time and try this out before you watch the rest of the video. Okay, right. So let's go ahead with the thing. This is the NS chart I have come up with, and I just want to show you first before we dry run this. This has three decision boxes. Now these are all processes, right? Going one after the other. Only place where normal flow will not occur is one is in the process decision, and the other one is in the loop. So in the decision, what happens is a condition is checked. Based on the condition, it will either go to the true side or the false side. So I just want to show you in this NS chart I have three decision boxes. So this is the first one, which is the main one. So after getting num3, you will be entering into this, and here, and every decision box will only have two outcomes, true or false. So the true outcome is on this side, the false outcome is on this side. Yes or no, or true or false, whatever you want to call it. So in this case, I'm calling it true and false. So if this condition is true, it will go on to this side, and that means it's going to be taken care by this box. If it is false, it's going to go on to this side, and that will be taken care by this side. Okay, just remember, true and false are not errors. Okay, it's just a condition. If the condition is true, you go to this side and do it. If the condition is false, you go to this side and do it. So in either cases, it's valid. It's okay. But based on this condition, for true we are doing certain things. For false, we are doing certain other things. Okay. So just remember, in a decision box, the true or false are not errors. It's just two separate conditions. Okay. So this is one decision box we have, and inside that box you can see there is another decision box. I'll show you that, and another one here. Okay, so this is the first decision box. If you look at the second one, see, that is within our main decision box. In the true side of that main decision box, we have another decision box. So that decision box again has a true or a false and has two sides. So this can have even further decisions if you need, or if your requirement is such. But in this case, we don't want. So this is what we have done. So this is the second decision box, and our third one is, as you can see, is this one. So altogether we have three decision boxes in this NS chart. Okay, so I just want to show you that. And decision boxes have to be always divided into two, and there will be a true side and a false side. And within this true side or the false side, again, if you put processes, that is going to go one after the other as the usual process in the process part. Okay, you just go one after the other. Unless there is another decision box, again it will be making a decision. So remember, why we need a decision box is whenever we have to decide on something and then do certain things. Okay, otherwise we will not require this decision box. Okay, right. So here what we are going to do is accept three numbers and display the largest out of the two. Okay, so let's dry run this. Now this time I'm going to dry run with 1, 2, and 3 in this order. So basically I'm going to type in the largest number at the end. I don't have to put 1, 2, 3. I can have 10 and 25 and 95. Whatever the numbers, I just wanted to put 1, 2, and 3. It's just three consecutive numbers. Need not be consecutive even. Okay, right. Let's start. Before we dry run, as usual, we need the screen for the show and the get. And we need the variables. We have actually num1, num2, and num3, three variables. So we have having those three variable boxes. And once again reminding you, screen is the only thing that is visible to the user. This part is the logic, or what the instructions, what the NS chart is trying to do, or the program is trying to do, and these are the variables. So these variables and the instructions will always be in an actual computer. It's inside the computer in the memory, and you will not be able to see it. So what the user is only seeing or dealing with the screen only. So that is why whatever we want to tell the user or deal with the user, it has to appear on the screen generally. Right, so this is the only part that the user is going to be able to see. This and this are internal, and we are just using it for us to dry run. Otherwise, we can't see what's happening inside the memory. So this is just to figure out what's happening inside the memory. This is the screen, the display the user is seeing. Okay, so let's start. To start, let's say start at the NS chart. Then you go here, show enter first number. So that is displayed when you get num1. Now waiting for the num1, right? So when the user sees enter first number, he is obviously going to type a number, and when he types a number and presses return or enter, that number will be accepted by this variable, because now we are at this particular point in the NS chart. So it's waiting for num1. Let's assume user is going to type 1. That's what we thought doing. So for 1 and enter, that number will be accepted into num1 because of this. Then you go to the next line, which is this, enter second number. That message comes up, then you go and wait for the second number, and we are going to take it into num2. We can't take it into num1 itself, because if we take the second number also into num1, now the first number will be lost, because these variables can hold only one value or one number or one whatever, text or even numbers at a time. Okay, multiple cannot be kept at the same time. The moment you put a new value, the previous value is lost. So we are accepting the second number into a separate variable called num2. So let's say you type 2 and enter, that is going into num2. So the num2 is this variable. Okay, so that gets 2. Then you go to the next line, which is enter a number, enter a third number, display, show. So it will display, enter third number. Then you go and wait for the third number, and we are taking into another separate variable called num3, which is this variable. Okay, so let's say user is typing 3 and press enter, that will go into this. Then after doing this, we are here. Why? Because we are supposed to print the largest out of the 3. So for this scenario, this is the largest, but the user could have typed it in any order they wanted. So therefore, we have to figure out. That is why we need a decision box. So in this decision box, what we are going to do is, we are going to see whether num1 is greater than num2. Is num1 greater than num2? That is false, because this is 1, this is 2, right? This is 1, num1 is 1, num2 is 2. You have to look at this value, okay, what is inside. So 1 is greater than 2, false. 1 is not greater. So therefore this won't, after checking this condition, you are going to end up here, false, right? Because this condition for this particular time, at this instance, it is false, because this has 1 and this has 2. So you go to the false side, and in the false side, inside the false side, again we have another decision box. So we are going to make another decision. This decision is to see whether num2 is greater than num3, because we have already tested the num1 and num2. Now we know num1 is not greater. Why? Because we have come onto the false side. Because this condition is false, and we have come to this side. Therefore, we can safely assume num1 is not greater than num2. So now we are trying to see whether num2 is greater than num3. That is also false, because num2 is 2, num3 is 3. So 2 greater than 3 is again false. So again it's going to fall onto this side. And therefore, we know num2 is also not greater than num3. And therefore, we can safely assume num1 has been eliminated from here. Num2 is going to be eliminated from here. So when it comes to a false, we know it has to be num3, right? So it's logic. Just think in those terms. So because it is false, it will go to this line and say show largest number is. So it will display that. And then you go to the next line where we are saying this. Since we came through this, here we are saying show num3. Num3 is 3. And then you come to it. But just remember, if you had come through this side for whatever reason, if this condition was true and it would have come this side, it would have printed num2. If it had, if this was true and it would go through that and come here, and then if it is true, it would have printed num1. If it is false, it would have printed num3. So based on different conditions, different numbers are being printed. So anyway, as you can see, 1, 2, 3. If we enter in this same order, it is displaying the largest, which is 3. That's fine. So this is Okay. Now the same in chart, we can't change the NS chart. Okay, same in chart. We are going to try with a different set of numbers. Now this time we are not typing 1, 2, 3. We are typing 1, 3, 2. And let's see. So again, we need the screens and the variables and the memory. Screen is the only visible thing to the user. So let's start dry run. Okay, we go there, enter first number, then you wait for the num1. Let's say now user is typing 1, num1 gets 1. You go to the second one, the next line, which is enter second number. So it displays that. Then you go to the next line, which is to wait for the num2. Let's say now the user is going to type 3, right? So let's type 3 and press enter. That will be accepted by num2. So num2 is now getting 3 this time. And then you go to the next line, which is saying enter third number. So that displays that message, and then you wait for the num3 in the next line. So the user is going to now type 2. We are assuming that, okay? So let's say if you put 2 there, 2 will be accepted by num3, which is this one. Now you go here, okay. Is num1 greater than num2? Num1 greater than num2? No. Num1 is 1, num2 is 3. So 1 is not greater than 3. So therefore this condition is false. And as such, it will come onto the false side here. Then in the false side, again, there's another decision box to test whether num2 is greater than num3. In this case, num2 is 3, num3 is 2. So num2 is greater than num3 is true, because 3 is bigger than 2. Therefore, this condition is true. And so you come to the true side, and because it comes to the true side only, it will print the largest number is and display num2. So because num2 contains the largest number. So using through these logics, we have figured out that, and we are printing num2. Num2 displays 3. So even if you enter 1, 2, 3 or 1, 3, 2, it's still printing 3 as the largest number. Okay, so that brings us to the end. Now let's try with another combination. This time we are going to put 2 first, then 1, then 3. Okay, again we have the variable and the screen. Start. Enter the first number, you enter the message comes up, then you wait for the number 1. We are going to enter 2. Okay, so let's put 2 and enter. That will be accepted by num1. So num1 now contains 2. Then you go to the next line, which says enter second number. That message. Then you go there, wait for num2. This time we are going to type 1. Okay, so 1, and that will be accepted by num2 because we are here. Num2 will become 1. Then you go to the third line, next line, which is enter third number. So it displays, and then wait for the num3. So this time we are going to type 3 and press enter. Num3 will take 3, and then we are here. We are testing. Is num1 greater than num2? Yes, num1 is 2, num2 is 1. So num1 is greater than num2 means 2 is greater than 1. 2 is greater than 1. Yes, correct. So this time is going to go to the true side, not the false side, because this condition is true. So when you go to the true side also has another condition to take, because we have basically checked num1 is greater than num2, fine, true. But we don't know whether num1 is greater than num3 even, because without checking with the 3 we can't decide. That is why there is another check. This time we are checking, is num1 also greater than 3 as well. When you come to the true side, we already know num1 is greater than 2. So second num2 is smaller than num1. That's why we have come to the true side here. Now we have to see whether the num1 is also greater than the third number also. So that's the check we are doing again here. Without doing that, we don't know where the largest number is. We know num1 is greater than num2, so we know num1 is greater, but we don't know about num3. So which one are we going to print, num1 or num3? To do that only we are deciding this. Num1 greater than num3, num1 is 2, num3 is 3. Is it greater? False. This is 2, this is 3. 2 greater than 3, false. Therefore it will come to the false side. And then in the false side only we are saying, okay, show largest number is, and show num3 on the false side. Okay, num3 is what? 3. See, show this, that this is displayed, and then we come to the end of that. So that means even if you enter 2, 1, 3, still it is printing largest number as the 3. Right? Now let's try with another combination.